This first video was taken from a resort on Kathanoi Bay, Thailand, when the first tsunami wave was making its approach. Though it may have appeared otherwise to the naked eye, the camera does not clearly show the impending tsunami, and most people living in the West or on vacation in the area likely had no idea what a real tsunami looked like, or when it was time to run. Then, out of nowhere, a flood of biblical proportions and noise is upon the cameraman. The events of this footage would be a frightening sight to wake up to, especially in a room high enough to have its own balcony. A vacationer at Meeru Resort in the Maldives took this video when the Boxing Day Tsunami came ashore on the tiny island nation, quite literally knocking at his door. The room in question was 10 feet above sea level, while the wave height in the Maldives ranged from 2 feet to 13 feet in height, a wide range within which almost anything could have happened to the camera person and their room. Judging from where the water eventually ends up, they received the upper end of the tsunami's power as it was experienced in the country. The Republic of Indonesia was the country worst impacted by the earthquake and tsunami of December 26, 2004, suffering more than half of the deaths associated with the disaster. This video was taken from Banda Aceh, one of the cities in Indonesia most affected by the tsunami. Those who didn't escape in time would be swallowed by the water, succumbing to exhaustion, drowning, or injuries from the wreckage. If they managed to avoid that, they would end up trapped under a suffocating mass of debris, carried on top of the flow of water, or witnessing the fate of those who did. The video also captures the utterly distraught reactions of the survivors who witnessed the deluge of water just below their shelter on higher ground.
Bang, pegangan di sini. Ini. Sampun deh kalau ini. Boleh naik mobil. Ini. Sampun deh kalau ini. Umi. Sampun deh kalau Umi. Allah Tuhan. Sampun deh kalau Umi.
The tsunami also impacted Kanyakumari district on India's eastern coast, soon after it was generated by the 2004 Sumatra earthquake. The people standing on the rock with the statue narrowly avoided being drowned, as the waves at Kanyakumari reached maximum heights of 9.5 meters, and the rock on which the statue sits was only 11 meters in height. Anybody caught by the tsunami waves on either of the two rocks offshore would be over 400 meters from the coast, which itself was extremely unsafe. Most of the threat, however, was experienced by those on the beaches of Kanyakumari and beyond. Nearly 900 people perished or went missing by the time the tsunami waves receded from the coastline of Kanyakumari 3 hours after they had struck, and over 10,000 people in India were killed, injured, or missing as a consequence of the tsunami. Along with Indonesia, Thailand, and India, Sri Lanka was one of the countries that were impacted the most by the tsunami's landfall, suffering 31,000 deaths in the disaster, the highest of any country other than Indonesia. This footage was shot in the city of Colombo as the tsunami drove inland. Although Colombo was on the west side of Sri Lanka, the physics of tsunamis mean that they can simply wrap around islands before crashing ashore. As a result, the streets of the country's largest city were turned into a raging river from which there was little to no chance of escape. After ravaging Colombo and other parts of Sri Lanka, the tsunami would go on to travel as far as South Africa, over 8,000 kilometers away from where it originated at the site of the earthquake. In addition to those killed or wounded throughout Sri Lanka's maritime regions, another 5,000 people were never found after being washed away from the nation's coastlines.